Okay, so today we're doing a pretty different type of video than my subscribers are used to, but I want my channel to be kind of a combination of ancient history all the way up to modern history, or whenever this was, not that long ago. So we're also going to do a kind of combination of formats. So today we're doing a BuzzFeed Unsolved style. If you haven't watched BuzzFeed Unsolved, I highly recommend, especially if you're a fan of true crime. Watching true crime, not committing true crime. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. You take over now.
Sweet, I'm in charge this time.
Yes.
All right, we got a mystery video.
Yes.
Okay,
Mystery.
History mystery. That's the series name. History mystery.
That's actually a good idea.
Yeah, right?
Series, yeah. Okay.
Okay, so our story begins on August 18th, 2008. When the domain name bitcoin.org was first registered. A couple months later, on October 31st, 2008, Halloween, coincidental,
Okay.
a man by the name of Satoshi Nakamoto was heard from for the first time when he emailed a document to a cryptography mailing list. The document was called Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system.
Wait, so Bitcoin hadn't existed at this point?
No.
Like he just made the website?
He created it. Oh, no. Yeah, he registered the website,
but no one knew
before
what
he
Bitcoin
sent
was.
out the white paper.
The white paper?
Oh.
Isn't it an email?
The paper is called the Bitcoin white paper.
Oh, right.
That he emailed to the cryptography mailing list. It detailed methods of using a peer-to-peer network to generate what was described as a system for electronic transactions without relying on trust. Then, on January 3rd, 2009, the Bitcoin network was born when Satoshi mined the Genesis block, or block 0, on the Bitcoin blockchain, giving him the first 50 Bitcoin as a reward.
To be clear, I know nothing about Bitcoin, so I didn't think this through. I probably should have read a little bit about it first, but keep going.
Okay. Embedded in that first block is a text that says, "The Times, January 3rd, 2009, Chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks," which refers to a headline in the New York Times on that date. This text is assumed to be both a timestamp for the creation of the Bitcoin network, as well as a comment from Satoshi on the dangers of modern fractional reserve banking. That's just a fun fact. Satoshi was very libertarian. He hated modern banks
There's
and
a
government.
chunk of the bar that doesn't have the seal. Anyway.
Okay, back to the not bar. One of the first supporters of Bitcoin was a programmer named Hal Finney. Finney downloaded the open source Bitcoin software the day it was released, and on January 12th, 2009, 9 days after Bitcoin was created, after the first block was mined, he received 10 Bitcoin from Satoshi in the world's first ever Bitcoin transaction. During these early days of Bitcoin, Satoshi Nakamoto is believed to have mined roughly 1 million Bitcoin while being actively involved in the day-to-day development of the network. However, as time went on, Satoshi slowly began handing over the reins to Gavin Anderson, a developer who had been working on the project with him.
So how did this guy work on it with him, though, if he didn't know who he was?
He was on the list and received the white paper and wanted to help out.
So he has no idea who this guy is?
No.
This thing is completely new?
Yes.
And he just was like, I'm gonna get involved.
Help. Yeah.
This could be a total scam. It could be a fraud. This could be illegal.
But he read the white paper, so he saw what the idea behind it was, and he wanted to be a part of it.
Okay, anyone can lie, though.
Well, yeah, but he also, Satoshi also
had
the science in the paper of how he was going to do it.
I mean, I could take his paper and copy the science and write that email to someone, and it doesn't mean that it's legit. And if someone doesn't even know who I am, can't even find any record of my existence, right?
Why are we trying to run a character assassination on these Bitcoin developers?
I'm just curious.
Okay. Finally, on April 26, 2011, just over 2 years after Bitcoin was created and following increasingly fewer posts by Satoshi.
Wait, post where? Where does he post?
Did I miss something? Bitcoin blog.
Oh, okay.
He started it and would post about developments and their upgrades and stuff. Yeah.
Valid.
Following increasingly fewer posts by him, he sent Anderson and the other developers working on Bitcoin at the time one final email saying, quote, "I've moved on to other things. It's in good hands with Gavin and everyone." That email is officially the last time that anyone has ever heard from Bitcoin's inventor, Satoshi Nakamoto.
What other things? Like, has there been
He didn't
anything
say.
else suspicious with that popped up with no one knowing the creator?
Nothing linked to
Just-
Satoshi.
What other things?
At first, people wondered where Nakamoto had gone.
Mm-hmm. I would too.
But as they started digging deeper, the question changed from where is he now to who is Satoshi Nakamoto?
That also, and stop kicking that because it's gonna pick
okay.
up on, yeah.
Let me back up then. Okay, before the white paper was sent out to the cryptography mailing list, there is zero online record of Satoshi ever even existing. During the roughly 2 years he was active in the development of Bitcoin, he only ever communicated with people online. Not even his closest developers ever met him in person, got on a Skype call with him, or even talked to him on the phone.
This is exactly my point. Why would you get involved?
And just like the rest of us, not one of the early Bitcoin developers, even Gavin Anderson, who took over after Satoshi disappeared, has heard from him since that email in April.
And do these guys, they don't find it suspicious? I mean, I guess they're probably like rich now, huh?
Oh yeah,
So they don't
they're
care.
billionaires now.
What if it all comes crashing down? They find out like something was illegal about it. They go
At
to
this
jail,
point,
lose all their money.
There's nothing illegal about it. It's been there for
But
13 years almost at this point.
that's true. That
And the SEC has already looked at it.
Oh, so they thought there might be something.
They looked at it to regulate it for taxes and stuff.
Okay.
So at this point, it is widely accepted that Satoshi Nakamoto was not actually the real name of Bitcoin's inventor, but rather a pseudonym. There are countless theories as to Satoshi's real identity, including multiple people who have come forward claiming to be him.
Of course.
Even pieces of supposed evidence as to his real identity contradict themselves, though. For example, Stephen Thomas, a Swiss coder, timestamped all of Satoshi's Bitcoin forum posts and found a steep decline to almost no posts between the hours of 5 a.m. to 11 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time, suggesting that Satoshi was asleep at this time, which these hours translate to midnight to 6 a.m. Eastern Time, which would suggest Satoshi was American living on the East Coast. But other
Interesting.
people point out the fact that all of his forum posts and emails use British English rather than American English.
And in like, I don't know back then, but like at least now
12 years
you
ago?
can like schedule something to post at a certain
yeah.
time on a certain day. Like even on YouTube, you can
That's true, I don't
schedule a
know.
video to upload at a certain time on a certain day.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much he thought into hiding his identity, but he could have done that on purpose.
He thought a lot into it.
So he could have done that on purpose to throw people off. Or the British English could have been done on purpose to throw people off. Or, with that kind of name, he could have been from neither Britain or America, and he could have been using British English because when he learned English, maybe that's the one he learned, because
This is true.
I don't imagine that everyone learns American English when they learn
Yeah.
English. I'm sure that it depends on where you're learning it from.
This is true.
So, that means nothing to me. Move on.
Okay. Anyways, despite the best journalists and internet detectives in the world taking up the case, there still hasn't been a single breakthrough to definitively answer the question, who is Satoshi Nakamoto? That said,
Okay.
there are a few theories with more credibility than most that we will go over here today.
With more credibility, what?
Than most.
Than most.
Of the other theories.
So these are the most likely theories.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. This one might kind of be cheating because it doesn't say who it is, but it's a theory. So theory number one,
Okay.
Satoshi Nakamoto is dead.
Oh.
This theory relies mainly on the fact that nobody has heard anything from Satoshi since he abruptly left Bitcoin in early 2011. Further evidence...
But he said he was leaving, so did I
Yes.
startle you?
No,
So-
I wasn't expecting it, but I wasn't startled.
Why do they think he died? Like, if he said he was leaving, that explains why he was leaving.
Further evidence that
Okay.
the currency's inventor may have died is the fact that out of all of his publicly known Bitcoin wallet addresses, not one coin has moved since he disappeared. At current prices, it's estimated that Satoshi's Bitcoin fortune would be worth roughly $50 billion with a B, making him one of the top 25 wealthiest people on Earth.
Maybe I should pretend to be him.
Proponents of this theory claim that there is no way that anybody would watch their wealth take off and grow to that big of a fortune without at least cashing out small pieces of it along the way.
Yeah.
However, there are a couple of problems with this theory.
That itself is a problem.
Yeah. Between his last email saying I've moved on to other things.
Exactly.
And the fact that he took his name off the copyright for Bitcoin before disappearing, replacing it with just the line Bitcoin developers. It's pretty clear that Satoshi fully intended to leave Bitcoin for good.
Right, but that's still weird.
And considering the fact he was non-existent online before the white paper, it's safe to say that we probably wouldn't hear from him again after he left Bitcoin if he didn't want to be heard from.
Yeah, that's true.
Whether he was
I don't
or
think
not.
he's dead. I said at the beginning, this is no.
Additionally, doesn't necessarily make or break the theory, but because of the way that crypto wallets work, to be able to get the coins on them, you have to have the private key, which is basically a string of random words that gives you access to the wallet.
Okay.
So it's possible he could have just forgotten the private
doubt
key.
that.
But someone as smart as him probably wouldn't. But
you create
it's
Bitcoin,
possible.
you manage to conceal your identity, so this many years later no one knows who you are, but you forget a few words.
It's possible, but not likely.
No, it's not. It's not possible.
Anyways, okay. Theory number 2. Satoshi Nakamoto is Craig Wright.
You gotta stop crinkling the paper while you're talking. It's really bad with noises. Anyway,
okay.
Craig Wright. Who's Craig
Our
Wright?
second theory as to the true identity of Satoshi Nakamoto leads us to an Australian scientist named Craig Wright. Unlike most of the other credible theories, Wright has not outright denied the claim that he is Satoshi, and has actually
Obviously,
at times claimed to be Satoshi.
People would like to be him. I would like that money.
But you'll see most people have denied being him. The credible theories.
I wouldn't.
Appearing via Skype at the 2015 Bitcoin conference, Wright said he was a bit of everything and listed off credentials including a master's in statistics as well as 2 different doctorate degrees. Evidence of Wright
Which is
being...
impressive, but that doesn't
It means
do
he's smart.
anything. Right.
Technical.
What does that mean?
It means he's has technical knowledge and is smart enough to have been able to invent
a lot of people
something like that.
But a lot of people.
But not that many people are smart enough to invent something like Bitcoin.
Yeah, but you think he had like a degree? Like, what were his degrees in?
I don't know what the doctorates were in. The
Economics or
master's was
something?
statistics.
I don't know.
I think that one of the doctorates was economics, and the other one was
that's
something
fair.
math related.
But still,
I
I don't know. Also, if your name is Craig Wright, you're not gonna come up with an identity with a name like
think Satoshi Nakamoto.
Yeah. There's no Craig Wright is gonna be like,
True.
that's my name. That's what I'm gonna
Well,
go
you could
by.
have just
I
Googled
can't. I don't
Japanese
even know if I
names
can pronounce it. But why would he Google Japanese name? Well, I guess because that'd throw people off.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not buying it.
Evidence of Wright being Nakamoto included references to a cryptocurrency paper by Wright on his blog months before the first appearance of the Bitcoin white paper. In addition, Wright had talked about a peer-to-peer distributed ledger in leaked emails with his lawyer. Furthermore, leaked transcripts of meetings with attorneys and tax officials quoted him as saying, "I did my best to try and hide the fact that I've been running Bitcoin since 2009. By the end of this, I think half the world is going to bloody know."
Now I think it's him.
However,
Okay.
all of these claims were... English, please. All of these claims were soon thrown into doubt. Following a story done on Wright by Wired, they noted several inconsistencies in his story. For example, the blog posts mentioned earlier appeared to be backdated.
Oh.
In addition, evidence also suggested that public encryption keys linking Wright to Satoshi Nakamoto were also backdated. Even Ethereum co-founder Vitalik Buterin, who is otherwise quiet about politics in the cryptocurrency world, came out against Wright, publicly calling him a fraud. Vitalik is a genius, by the way.
Well,
He was doing 3-digit multiplication and division when he was 3 years old.
So this guy basically faked... Is this one
Fake-
from Romania?
No.
Oh, okay.
That guy's
I
on
got excited for a
Ethereum,
second.
not Bitcoin.
No, yeah, that's what I meant. The one who was talking.
Vitalik?
Yeah.
No, he's not from Romania. He's from Russia.
Who's the one from Romania?
I don't remember his name, but he's
Anyway.
not involved with this Bitcoin
Okay,
theory.
well-
Any of them.
Okay, so I am easily swayed because I was like, it's not him. And then I was like, it is him. But now the evidence that made me think it is him is basically like he faked it afterwards? Yeah, so it's not him. I'm back to my original stance. Okay, why is there stomping upstairs?
Okay. Theory number 3.
Okay, you really want to make eye contact.
Nick Szabo. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Last name.
It was like Zabo.
Nick
There's
Szabo.
Z.
Okay, it's S-Z-A-B-O.
Szabo or Zabo, whatever.
We'll say
Nick.
Szabo, okay.
Okay.
Nick Szabo is a computer engineer and legal scholar credited with pioneering the concept of smart contracts in a 1996 paper. Smart contracts are something on Ethereum and other cryptocurrencies that let you do more than just send money to people, basically.
Okay.
It's hard to describe.
I won't.
Bitcoin doesn't have smart contracts, so.
Okay.
In 2008, he conceptualized a decentralized currency he called BitGold, a precursor to Bitcoin. He described BitGold. Wow. He described BitGold as a protocol whereby unforgeable, costly bits could be created online with minimal dependence on trusted third parties. This is similar to the Bitcoin concept, whereby a series of bits created by a network of computers without a leader verify and validate transactions. So it's basically the same as Bitcoin.
My stomach's growling.
Author Dominic Frisby claimed Szabo was Nakamoto, even consulting a stylometrics expert who concluded that Szabo's writing style was similar to known writings from Satoshi.
Yeah, but if he's trying to fake his identity, why would he write in the same style that he normally writes with? Like, I would be smart enough to write in a different style. So to me, that almost disproves it.
Another clue is that both Szabo and Satoshi reference economist Carl Menger. That's kind of a weak clue, though. Maybe. But anyways. In addition, Frisby learned Szabo had worked for DigiCash, an early attempt to bring cryptography to digital payments. According to Frisby, this strongly suggested Nick Szabo is Satoshi Nakamoto. Finally, there have yet to be any credible claims against Szabo being Satoshi.
Has he said anything?
He has denied it.
Okay, so he's not. Well, no, I guess he wouldn't necessarily want. If he tried to hide his identity this whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually,
whoever it is doesn't want people to know.
That almost makes him more credible.
Yeah.
He denied it.
I feel like that is one of the more plausible theories.
It sounds very circumstantial, but I mean.
That's basically everything about Satoshi, though.
Wasn't like the OJ case circumstantial too? Like a lot of the evidence.
OJ killed them.
I know, that's what I'm saying. But the case, I'm pretty sure a lot of the evidence was like circumstantial.
If the glove don't fit, you must acquit.
Then that would mean he didn't.
Yeah.
But it didn't.
It's a nice soundbite.
They froze it and unfroze it. And froze it. Anyway.
Anyways, okay. Theory 4. Dorian Nakamoto.
Okay, so.
You're sold already?
I mean, I don't know. Because if he's trying to hide his name, why would he use it? But he might use his actual last name because.
Let's just read it.
Yeah.
The most well-known theory regarding Bitcoin's creator is a man named Dorian Nakamoto. In March 2014, Newsweek identified Dorian Nakamoto as Bitcoin's creator. Oh. This article
they just straight up were like...
They just said it's him.
Solved.
Yeah.
Okay.
This article created a media firestorm in the crypto world as Newsweek was the first major outlet to attempt to identify Satoshi.
They didn't attempt, they just
claimed they did. The article claimed there were several similarities between Dorian and Satoshi. For one, they were both libertarian.
Wait, that's what they based they straight up said, we solved it because
let me finish.
Because there's some similarities.
Let me finish.
That's how they solved it.
For one, they were both libertarian and both had Japanese connections.
That's yeah.
The author also claims Dorian said, quote, "I am no longer involved in that and I cannot discuss it. It's been turned over to other people. They are in charge of it now. I no longer have any connection." A quote confirmed by local police who witnessed the interaction.
Who did he say this to?
The Newsweek journalist who interviewed him.
So they're saying that he admitted it?
Yes.
Okay.
Although for his part, Dorian later denied the quote and claimed he had misunderstood the question as being about his former military work, most of which was classified. He was a...
How do you get that confused? Well, I guess journalists, they could set him up for that.
He told the AP, quote, "I got nothing to do with it," regarding Bitcoin.
Okay, a man who talks like that did not invent Bitcoin. You're saying I got nothing to do with it, you didn't invent Bitcoin.
In addition, Dorian was trained as a physicist and engineer at Cal Poly University and worked as a systems engineer on classified defense projects and a computer engineer for technology and financial information services companies. So basically, he's smart and has the know-how to make something like that, like Bitcoin.
But he says, I got nothing to do with it.
Then, in a Reddit AMA interview, he claimed he had misinterpreted Goodman's question as being related to his work for Citibank.
Oh, so he doesn't even know what he's saying.
Later that day, Satoshi Nakamoto's peer-to-peer foundation account posted its first message in 5 years, simply stating, quote, "I am not Dorian Nakamoto."
Okay, but wait, again. Hang on. I lost my thought. First of all, wait, so that they posted that after the Newsweek article came out?
After the Newsweek article came out saying he was Dorian Nakamoto.
I thought you were saying like after the interviews, and I was like, that's sketchy. But also, what was the thing you said before that?
He in the Reddit AMA.
Right. Okay. So he
said he misinterpreted
if you're
not being
so
his work for
dumb,
Citi.
No offense to this guy, but if you're so dumb that you get you can't even keep your story straight on one thing. Again, I don't think you invented Bitcoin.
True.
If you don't even remember what you said that you got confused about.
Yes, this is true.
Yes.
But it is also weird that
Sure keeps wobbling.
Satoshi's foundation posted its first message in 5 years just saying he wasn't this guy, when literally him or his foundation have never come out confirming or denying any other theory about
isn't that the only time they've been straight up accused by a big media outlet?
No.
Oh. I don't know.
However, in September of that year, the account posted another
You are really good thing you don't narrate my videos.
However, in September of that year, the account posted another message saying it had been hacked, raising questions over the earlier message's authenticity. Which is just weird.
If they weren't hacked, why would they... I mean, I guess because they changed their mind? I don't know, that's fishy.
Yeah. But
I'm not a detective, I'm not good at this.
The biggest piece of evidence that Newsweek listed for Dorian Nakamoto being Satoshi
Yeah, I'm waiting for a real
was his birth name of Dorian Prentice Satoshi Nakamoto.
Okay. I was gonna say at the beginning when they said the last name, I was like, I feel like the only way that I could be convinced that it's someone with the same last name is if they had the other name somewhere in there.
Yeah, and apparently
I should have said that at the beginning.
He went in his yearbook. There's references to him going by Satoshi Nakamoto.
Okay, so it's him.
In his high school yearbook.
I'm buying it. No, it's him.
So you think it's him now?
Yes.
Okay. Theory 5 is that it was a group of people and not just
like
one person.
Like the monster with the 21 faces?
Sure.
Yeah. They were Japanese too, I think. Maybe not.
I don't know anything about a monster with 21 faces.
I'm pretty sure it was in Japan. Yeah, it was in Japan.
Okay. So, the final theory...
Okay.
Spoiler, it's not really the final theory.
Then why do you say that?
Because it was supposed to be, but then I found another theory that I wanted to add in.
Then why did you just say that right now?
I don't know. Okay, so the fifth theory, and one of the more popular theories, says that Satoshi Nakamoto is actually a pseudonym for a group of people and not an individual. This seems to be the theory subscribed to by internet security pioneer John McAfee, RIP, who... Okay. Let me read that line again.
No, that's fine. We're losing that.
Okay.
You said it so aggressively. I thought you were like threatening to rip him. That took me a second to realize what you were even saying.
Okay. There's a theory subscribed to by John McAfee, who claimed that it was a team of 11 people over the course of 5 years that came up with Bitcoin.
11 people, like, one thought of it, and then the next one thought of the next step, or like they all at the same time. Because 11 people over
11 people working together over the course of 5 years that created and developed it.
Okay, because 11 people over 5 years makes it sound like consecutively.
No.
11 people joined the project. Okay.
He also added that Craig Wright from the earlier theory was one of the 11 people involved.
Okay. What I said bullshit on him though. So,
Yeah.
No.
As for the author of the Bitcoin white paper, McAfee says, quote, "How they decided who would write the paper, I don't know. But anybody who wants to know who it is, I mean, you know who the options are. You've got Craig Wright, possibly. I'm not going to name everyone else, otherwise you'll figure out who it is, but somebody wrote the white paper."
Isn't that the point of, well, okay, first of all, obviously somebody wrote it.
Yeah.
It didn't just appear. But isn't the whole point of him trying to solve it, and then now he's not going to say anyone?
He claims he's already solved it.
He's like,
He already
I've
knows.
solved it, but
Yeah.
have fun. I'm not telling you.
It says McAfee pointed to 2 language quirks as helping to narrow down the potential developers. That the author used British English over American English, which we mentioned earlier,
Yes.
and that they consistently used 2 spaces after a period.
That's proper writing in many cases.
So it's somebody who's proper and British,
It depends
basically.
on the case that you're writing in, but yeah.
Maca-
Not case like uppercase or lowercase. I mean, anyway.
McAfee also claimed that the format of the document, the white paper, was identical to documents that Satoshi had published professionally, making it relatively easy for anyone to figure out. If you buy, this is a quote,
Okay.
if you buy a
Why are your knuckles cracking every time you
I
quote?
don't know. If you buy a $200 authorship program and you take the white paper and you run it through and you take any one of the papers that he's published, all of these people wrote papers, by the way, only one comes out with 99% probability it's him. In addition, McAfee claims to have spoken directly to the white paper's author on the phone, where he convinced McAfee not to divulge his identity.
I don't know. I don't really trust someone that's like, I know, but I'm not telling any of you.
Yeah.
That's weird. That makes no sense. Why spend all that time trying to find it out just to be like, you're on your own. Figure it out yourself.
And is McAfee really the most reliable source?
I have no idea. I've heard of him a few times. That's about it. I'm not into the tech and that stuff. I do history.
He was kind of psycho.
Okay.
Anyways.
Don't. I mean, we don't know what happened to him, so don't be
Come after
hitting
me,
anyone
bro.
after. No, not me.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Bonus 6th and real this time final theory.
Okay.
Hal Finney was Satoshi Nakamoto. You remember Hal Finney was the early developer that received the first Bitcoin transaction.
So he faked it, supposedly?
Before Hal Finney's death in August 2014, which would also subscribe to the Satoshi is dead theory. Rest in peace, Hal Finney.
Oh, he gets a nice one.
Before Hal Finney's death in August 2014, a Forbes reporter interviewed him and asked if he was Satoshi. Finney, who ultimately died of ALS, a terminal disease that basically prevents one's muscles from obeying their mind.
Isn't that what the Ice Bucket Challenge is for?
I think so.
Yeah. Awareness.
And the disease basically trapped him in his body like Stephen Hawking in the wheelchair, having to use the voice
Is Stephen Hawking
thing.
Is that what he had?
No, he had Lou Gehrig's disease.
Oh.
Similar results, but different disease.
Results.
So, Finney had written some of the most important code in the history of cryptography. Cryptography, that's hard. Cryptography goes back to like the 80s or 90s, so well before Bitcoin.
Okay.
And it was used for other stuff besides
So he
transactions
wrote about
and
it
money.
before Bitcoin?
He wrote code and developed some of the most important cryptography in history, basically.
Before Bitcoin?
Yes. So he knows cryptography and is very smart, basically.
Okay.
Hal Finney denied being Satoshi or having any connections to him, as well as denying any connections to Dorian Nakamoto. This Forbes interview came shortly after the Newsweek article about Dorian Nakamoto.
He's saying that guy's not it. Wait.
He's saying he's never met that guy. He has no idea
So
who he
he
is.
would know.
Yeah.
Okay. So that helps no one.
The author of the Forbes article even writes that going into the interview, he was convinced he was about to talk to the creator of Bitcoin or else a man who happened to be at the center of, quote, one of the most improbable coincidences I've ever encountered. The first piece of evidence was that Hal Finney lived in the same 36,000 person exurb of LA that Newsweek had found Dorian Nakamoto in, only a few blocks away from the Nakamoto family house. Which,
Well, what does that have to do with...
if Dorian was Satoshi,
So that
or at
helps
least
the case
involved
that
with
Dorian was it.
Yes.
It's him. That's
Okay.
Yeah.
In other words, the possibly first and confirmed second ever users of Bitcoin lived just blocks away from each other. If
Right.
Dorian was Satoshi.
Right. So this is making a case that it was Dorian, and I already thought that. But
Okay.
This.
Well, so the primary theory at this time was that Finney, as the creator of Bitcoin, knew Dorian Nakamoto and secretly used his name as a pseudonym to conceal his own identity.
Oh my gosh! 1 second. Okay, go back to
Okay.
whatever you just read.
The primary theory at this time was that Finney, the creator of Bitcoin,
Mhm.
knew Dorian Nakamoto and secretly used his name as a pseudonym to conceal his own identity.
With him knowing or without him knowing?
Without Dorian knowing.
I feel like there'd be a lawsuit.
But if they
Something.
couldn't prove Finney was...
Oh, true.
Other theories state that Finney was more of a ghostwriter for Bitcoin.
You are horrible.
Yeah. This theory says that Dorian Nakamoto may have come up with the original idea for Bitcoin, but Hal Finney used his superior writing skills to explain Nakamoto's vision to the world, giving Dorian credit.
Why are we assuming that he has superior writing skills?
Because you'll see here.
Wait, is Dorian the
Says
one that said I got nothing to do with it, or is that the
Yes.
other one? Okay, yeah, so he does have superior
The evidence for this theory is twofold. A writing analysis consulting firm had examined Dorian's writing and compared it to all of Satoshi's writings before he disappeared, and it was a complete mismatch.
Which could be just because he's trying to throw people off the case.
True. In fact, though...
But then again, if he's using his real name, he probably wasn't trying that hard.
In fact, they had analyzed almost every single person claimed to have been involved in the development of Bitcoin, but none of them were a close enough match to be worth publishing. However, when the Forbes author sent them examples of Hal Finney's writing, they came back and said that Hal Finney was the best Nakamoto candidate whose writing the firm had ever analyzed, and the first who they believed might actually have written the Bitcoin white paper. So basically, his writing was very similar to Satoshi Nakamoto's.
So, he pretended to send himself an email? Is there record of this email being sent from someone
From Satoshi's email address
There is record.
to the cryptography list, yeah.
Which I guess this guy would have, if he's sending it to a list, then he would have sent it, and he could have just included himself.
Yeah.
Okay.
However, even with all of this evidence, after talking to Hal Finney, the Forbes author is convinced that he had nothing to do with the creation of Bitcoin, and the evidence he found linking him to Satoshi was merely a coincidence.
So
basically, the
how is
author...
that even a theory if the guy who made it a theory is like, never mind?
Well, it's been a theory for other people. It was just this guy...
So he
was
said,
like, I'm
so he was like
100% convinced this is it.
He's
I'm
like,
gonna go
this
interview
is not
him.
it, and other people were like, yes it is, we're taking it now.
By looking at the evidence, people were like, never, no, we think it is.
It really seems like it's a case of
Because
Dorian.
he went into that interview saying, I'm about to go talk to the guy who created Bitcoin.
Right, but then he found out that
and then he talked to him and interviewed him, and after talking to him and hearing his denials, he genuinely believed it. And was like, no, this guy has nothing to do with creating Bitcoin.
This, to me, sounds like a case for Dorian.
So you think Dorian
I take
actually
back
created
my
it?
original statement, where I said that no one who says I got nothing to do with it would have created Bitcoin. I think he did. Maybe this guy wrote for him, or someone wrote for him, because clearly
The Forbes
it
author
would be
said
easy
that
to have
he
superior
didn't even
writing
think he did
skills.
that.
But anyone could have written it for this other guy, this Dorian guy, because anyone could have superior writing skills to someone that talks like that.
Yes.
That, or he just knew how to write better and just, like me, chose not to in everyday life.
But
'Cause
there's
I
still
don't-
stuff
I
that
don't
you
speak
would...
the way I write.
You still have your writing style would come... Even if you tried to sound more professional, you would still have your own writing style that
Not
would
necessarily.
come through.
Not if you're intentionally trying not to. You can mimic someone
True.
else's. I'm a writer. I can mimic someone else's writing. Maybe someone who's
But would
really
it be
good at
a
investigating would
complete
still
mismatch
find
then?
it. I would, if you're good at it. I don't know. But
to
that's what I'm
trick
saying.
people
Someone
who do
else,
that for a living.
That's what I'm saying.
That's their
Someone
whole
else
job.
could have written it for him, though.
Yes, but
Not this guy, but
out
someone
of
else
all the
could have.
people who either were known to have
It
or
could be
claimed
some
to
guy
have
that we don't know
development on Bitcoin,
Right.
nobody
He
was a
could-
match.
He could have hired a ghostwriter.
Yes, this is true.
So,
Hal Finney, the ghostwriter.
No, like someone no one knows about.
The point is,
It's Dorian.
even 13 years later, nobody knows who
We know
Satoshi
it's
Nakamoto
Dorian.
is.
He literally has the name.
Still an unsolved
He
mystery.
literally
If you
has
know,
it.
please let us know. Reply in the YouTube
It's
comments.
Dorian.
And like the video for the YouTube algorithm.
That too. Are we done? Yeah, we're done.
I think we're done.
Okay.
Cool.
I'm gonna have to edit so much
That
of
was a long one.
Yeah, let's not do that again.